Coach, Matt, Michael, thanks for the time. We'll start with opening thoughts on the game from each of you and then take questions.
First of all, congratulations to the Atlas. They played a great game. They got off to a great start. And, after getting down 6-0, I thought our guys played great. A couple of lapses, a 6-goal run and a 4-goal run, made it tough. But really proud of the effort our guys put in. They made it tough, and Entenmann did what he had to do at the end. And so, it's frustrating. You got excited about being here and this opportunity in Philly, and falling short hurts. But proud of our guys, proud of the way they kept battling right to the end. And, it's the problem with sports and the problem with playoffs is that only one team wins. And so there'll be 2 unhappy teams today and 1 next week, and somebody will be the champion. And that's the way this thing goes. But proud of the league, proud of the effort, proud of the people that come out today, and mostly proud of our guys and what they did.
Yeah, I mean, like Coach T said, I think, first of all, credit to the Atlas. That kind of core group has been at it a long time, and I think, they're a great team. And unfortunately, if you give them an inch, they take 50 yards. And on top of that, Liam was fantastic for them. So you got to tip your cap where credit's due. I think for us, we showed great fight, especially down the stretch, and that's who we are. To go down 6-0 to a team like that, we could have easily folded and kind of walked away with our tail between our legs, but we kept on fighting, and that's our group, And so we're going to take a long, hard look at ourselves in the mirror and come back next year and get better, as we always do.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a slow start, but just the way, like Coach and Mikey said, just the way we answered that kind of bell of being punched first and how we respond is true to the culture in this locker room. There is no deficit that we can't come back from, and we truly believe that. And it's a lot of fight. Comes from the top down with Coach, and then our veterans leading the way. It's a lot of belief and a lot of known that we could do this thing against any team in this league. And I think today, obviously, credit to the Atlas, but I thought we made some mistakes that hurt us. And it's always hard to lose a game where you feel like you gave them some goals and some points on the board. And like Mikey said, it's just when you give them a little bit, man, it looks like they take over and they make runs out of them. And just really proud of the guys, especially from the defensive end. The 3 guys in front of me, I mean, that physicality level that they set a tone early on. And they let me do my job. They gave me shots I could see, and I was just really proud of those guys to step up, communicate, and play physical. And that's something that is really, really good knowing as a goalie is watching your 3 poles in front of you just give it their absolute all and honestly create some offense for us, which was awesome.
Questions?
So, looking back at that first quarter, what would you say was what led you guys get off to that slow start?
I would say at least defensively, I thought we were thinking a little bit too much. Didn't play as free, and I think I think our guys really thought about the last 2 games that we played against them. And then if you notice, the change came when we started applying ball pressure and we started getting really physical. You started to watch Jeff Teed and Shelley play a little bit wider because we're on gloves and we're applying that ball pressure. And honestly, we settled in really, really well, and that's all you can ask for. You never know how these things are going to start out, and just to have the trust and the veteran leadership that we do to settle in, play our game, and get ourselves back into it is something you can walk away with your head up. But honestly, 6-goal run to start the game isn't ideal, and when you lose, you can look at that as well.
Coach, the middle of the field was awesome for you guys today, giving you guys plenty of opportunities off the face-off. What was kind of the strategy and game plan going into kind of slowing down Trevor and giving you guys opportunities out of the middle of the field?
Well, first of all, it's hard. It's hard to play against Trevor Baptiste. Not only his skill, but also his. He's known around the league. Let's just put it that way. And he had 2 goals and an assist to a 2-pointer last time. I thought staff did a great job, and our wing guys did a great job again. Zach Currier was a warrior out there, and he's out there for every face-off, and pretty much stuck to the game plan. I think they got 1 or 2 fast breaks, but they were off ground balls. So, the idea was to try to make it a 6-on-6 game, and at the defensive end, try to run the clock down and get it to a point where they had 20-second possessions instead of 32. And, you know, I thought that part of it was fine, and guys did a great job. So, you know, and then, you know, for the team who apparently stinks at 2-pointers, we had 3 of them today. So, you know, just goes to show, you know, we had a lot of young guys on defense, and I thought they grew up as the season went on, and certainly the momentum and the confidence they bring in. This is a tough league. You're playing against Teach, Schellenberger, and Dixon. You got three wise guys out there, and I mean that in a complimentary way. Really talented players, but also really smart. And you know, as I said, the trouble with playoffs is somebody loses, and you got to wait a whole year to get back. But I saw great improvement in our team this year. It came together really well, and guys got to know each other, and the middle of the field was part of it.
For Michael and for Coach, early on it looked like New York was really focused on denying Michael touches, whether it was Adler pressing out or even if you were to switch onto a shorty, they would outright face guard you with the shorty. How do you kind of adjust and keep yourself in the game? And, you know, look like more touches kind of came as the second half rolled on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the reality is we got 5 other great guys, and I think that's how we look at it. And if you want a shot, you know, there's ways to be effective without the ball, and I think that's what you saw. You know, me being a picker, me trying to get guys open off ball. But, you know, that's kind of how we look at it. And, you know, naturally, as the game flows, it's easier to get more and more involved. But like I said, the way we look at it, we got 5 other great guys who, you know, we got full confidence in.
Michael Sowers is Michael Sowers, and he has earned that kind of reputation to be shut off, to be slid to be double teamed, and the difference between Michael Sowers and other superstars is that he's willing to do those other things. And so, you know, it happens in every sport. Denying, double teaming, putting a whole game plan together. Early, you saw CJ, you know, get a couple that kind of brought us together, and that wasn't a mistake. That was them having to worry about Michael and CJ getting one-on-ones. So he'll downplay it, but this is one of the greatest has ever played the game, and he's earned that you know, that kind of defense.
Coach and Matt, if you want to weigh in on this as well, you kind of emphasized, you mentioned earlier the 2-pointers that you guys had. The Poles looked tremendously aggressive in transition today, looking for their deep bounce shots. Was that an emphasis heading into the game, or was that something that just kind of unfolded as the game went along? And what does that do for you, Matt, knowing that basically once your Poles got the ball, it was in a position to be an offensive threat?
Yeah, that's definitely a point of emphasis, especially with Coach T. The high bouncer is preached across the board, and we work on those things, especially on our shoot-arounds prior to the game. We hear put it off the ground a lot. And I think, you know, at first we were a little hesitant in the year, and then this guy knows what he's talking about a lot and how to put the ball in the back of the net. And it's freeing as a goaltender knowing that if I can keep the ball out of the net or I can make that clean save, I don't have to just look for short sticks. And that is what frees us up when we run with 3. And that's Coach Sheridan makes a big point in our clearing game is run with 3, run with 3. We are not just looking for short sticks. We know our Poles can play, and it's the trust and the faith in them to say, hey, I don't care if there's a pole collapse. Like, these guys are going to make plays. Jimmy Freehill will make plays. Ben Ware makes plays. Randy makes plays. And it's freeing to know I don't have to just look for short sticks. I can pitch the ball out, and my job's to save it and then look for those guys who are the most talented players in the world to put it in the back of the net.
Mike, Matt, you guys obviously both drafted by this franchise. You guys are big parts of building the culture and leaders. I think in that locker room they know, and I think outside a lot of people view you both as leaders on this team. What does a season like this, you know, help you guys learn about your leadership role on this team and knowing that this team was capable of bouncing back from a down year last year and, like you said, Matt, kind of bouncing back and no lead is ever safe when you guys are out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, first and foremost, I think we did take a step forward this year, and I think that's a credit to two groups, our veterans and our rookie class. I think we had a rookie class that came in and injected some energy into the locker room, and they did a great job, and that's a great group. And I think, you know, we did take a step forward, but obviously we're not sitting where we want to sit. So, you know, we'll go back. Like I said, we'll watch the film and continue to get better and evolve, and hopefully be there next year.
Yeah, I think our rookies and our young guys did a lot this year for us, and it really built the trust that we have in them, and knowing that even at training camp, these guys came in and set the tone, like Mikey said, and I thought it brought a lot out of our vets too, and I thought that competitive culture created an atmosphere in our locker room that knew we were battle tested just because of practice. We were always going at it. And getting under each other's skin like that, and it creates a competitive environment, which leads to success in the field. And I think that's why, you know, the culture of us believing that we could do it is because we're battle tested, whether it's in games or in practice. We are always competing. And then again, I think just like Mikey said, it's a step forward. Yeah, obviously last year was not us and wasn't this locker room, wasn't this team. But again, we expect to play for the championship almost every year, and we've shown we can do it, and we fell off, and it's a great year. It's a great building, stepping stone, whatever you want to call it, but it's still we expect to win these games and be playing that last weekend of the season.
Mike, not the result you wanted today. Just can you touch specifically on playing with CJ and just year one, the second half of the season in the books here? Just what excites you moving forward, kind of pairing alongside him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, put simply, he's special. You know, I think a guy like that, the player and the person, the combination of those two things, they don't come along often. And I think what he did for not only our team and our offense, but our locker room, you know, you can't really measure it. And I'm just excited to have the opportunity to play alongside him, watch him grow in this league, and, you know, help him in any way that I can be the best he can be. You know, so it's awesome. He's a special one.
Question for everybody on the thing here is, what has this whole week been like, knowing this game was going to be here at Subaru Park, and also what is your message to the fan base going forward?
You know, we wanted to get back to Philly. You know, we wanted to play in these semifinals, and obviously having the opportunity to represent the city of Philadelphia. It's special to be able to play in your home city, have the home crowd behind you. We didn't get the result that we wanted, but I think, you know, like a classic Philadelphia team, we fought until the end, you know, and I think that's a key piece of our identity in that locker room, and something that's going to continue to anchor us as we go forward.
Hey, Coach, what did you learn in your second season in the PLL?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what did you learn in your second season in the PLL?
Learned that I'm not a very good coach. It's really different. It's really different. These guys are professionals in more than just the word professional lacrosse league. You know, it's you have to trust them. You have to understand them. You have to know that they know what they're talking about, and yet you also have to temper that as well, because you have a lot of coaches and a lot of great players on your team, and I give them so much credit, because this year we opened the doors a lot more and allowed them to have a say, and I think it helped us. It helped us be a better team. It also helped us as coaches to recognize that there are things that when you practice once a week that you just can't do when you practice 5 times a week, and to these guys' credit, they said yes to everything we tried to do. They said yes to everything we asked them to work on. It's hard. These guys are working during the week and then coming and practicing for an hour and a half one night, and that means they've got to do other things. So as far as coaching goes, sometimes it can be really frustrating when you're when you know that there are things that you had 10, 12, 14 hours during the week to shore up, and now you're trying to do it on a Zoom call. So I've learned a lot. I'm proud of them, and most of all, just and most important is that the relationships with these guys has just keeps me going, and I'm thankful for them.
2 more on Zoom, Dre.
Hey, Coach, this one is for you. Can you speak to Ben Ware's play today as well as CJ Curse?
Can you speak to Ben Ware's play today and CJ Kirst as well?
Penwares.
Ben, yeah.
Yeah, listen, Ben, we drafted Ben because of his ability to get balls off the ground and be offensive as a pole in this league. As you saw today, in one way you could look and say, well, other than the first quarter, we outscored them, 11-6 or 11-7. Or you could look the other way, their way, and say, well, yeah, but we gave up 3 2-pointers, so that's a big difference. The score tells the game, right? And so a guy like Ben who brings us energy, and he and Jimmy both have now gained a huge confidence, so that when they come back, they will be a force to be reckoned with, just like there are other guys in the league, and people will know about them, and that stretches the defense out and helps you. Obviously, helps you when you get a 2, but also helps you in preparation for trying to score goals in tough games like this.
Mike?
Yeah, this one's for Coach. Mike and Matt were already kind of talking about it a little bit, but what are you hoping the younger group learns from an experience in a season like this?
Give me that again, Grace.
What are you hoping for that our young guys learn from this experience this year?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and as Michael alluded to, this is a great young class. The reality is, on our defense, if you count the 3 shorties and the 5 poles, 5 of those guys were rookies. Brower was a second-year guy, and Hudgens is a second-year guy, but Brower didn't play last year, and Hudgens played a different position. So with those 2, and then Jimmy Freehill, and, I think you saw the best 2 shorties in the game out there today with Danny Logan on the Atlas and Dylan Hess on our team. These guys are, and of course, CJ, who, we didn't mention, but there's a lot to mention there. So the second year in this league is one where you go from eyes wide open to, hey, I can do this, and I'm sure that those 5 or 6 Waterdogs plus a few others, Jake Taylor and some of those guys, this is going to be a tough team from this point on. So proud of them, and they got through a tough year, ups and downs. They've experienced everything, and they've come through with flying colors. I'm proud of them.
Thank you all. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Coach Connor, Trevor, congratulations on the win and advancing to the PLL US Bank Championship. We'll start with opening thoughts from each of you and then take questions.
Captain.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought battle out there. I think that, credit to the Waterdogs. They played hard, shot a lot of two-pointers. But, I think that, it's just so awesome. This team just won't be denied, and we kept battling. We stuck together, most importantly. I think that with some of the runs that they went on, it could have been really easy for us to hit that panic button and, lose our composure, and we just stayed at it. We stayed at it, and we pulled it out, and we're going to the championship.
Yeah, really fun game to be a part of. Not playing for 3 weeks, you don't know what to expect when you come out, and to get off to that hot start and start 6-0 was awesome, and then just like the resiliency and keep fighting when the Waterdogs clawed back, and that's a fun playoff game to be a part of, and it's always more fun to get a win.
For me personally, just so happy for our veterans, the original Atlas guys like Trevor and Danny and Jeff Teat and Michael Rexroad and those guys who have been so close to this, and now we're going to the finals. So thrilled for our entire team, especially the veterans there. And then, that was going to be a 48 full. And we go up 6-0. We knew exactly what we were getting. I mean, it could have been, 8 or 9-0. We hit a few pipes there, but that's the name of the game. And give them credit. Cut it to 2. I think a key deal in the whole game is they never tied it. They never tied it, which is huge for us. Then it becomes, a battle to the end. I thought we did a great job at the end, in particular, managing the clock and kind of being smart, with our own shot clock and getting back on D. And then obviously you mentioned these two. What do you say about Liam Entenmann? I mean, what do you say about Liam Entenmann? I mean, what a performance on the big stage. And the other note on all this, we give up 3 twos today. And from what I know, when you give up 3 twos, like the percentage to win is very, very low. And so anyway, forget all that. 13-11, we're moving forward and going to celebrate today with these guys and enjoy this the best we can.
Questions?
Yeah, Trevor, just the lone Atlas member. You've been in a original from 2019. You've been in a few of these. Just what's it mean to break through the title game first time?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's been such a great journey, like being on this team, and we've been through a lot. And there's been so many great players that come before, and obviously so many great players on our team right now, and bringing in CP and Brooksy and Sino, it's been really special, and I think that we've always kind of been so close, and it feels phenomenal to finally break through that ceiling and get to the championship.
Questions for Trevor. What was this whole experience playing this game here in Philadelphia, since you used to play for the Philadelphia Wings?
Yeah, no, it was great being back in Philly. Definitely played a lot of years here in the professional stage and for the Wings, and growing up not too far from here as well. So it's special, especially in a game like this where it's a semifinal and a lot's on the line. So it was cool.
Shelly, it's been a talk all season. Since Reed Bowering's come into the lineup, the offense has really opened up. Can you just speak to how pivotal it's been since he's been a part of this team, on a week in and week out basis in the 19-man for you guys to really kind of be that missing piece of the puzzle for this offense?
Yeah, I mean, Reed is the most unselfish person you could possibly have in a locker room. I mean, you're right. Like literally, you could see the first game that he got inserted, there was instant reward for our offense, and it's been awesome to see him, have games recently where he scored 3 or 4 goals and, had assists and, kind of get rewarded for all the little things that he does. But, I mean, just the amount of picks he sets and, working off ball and getting other guys open. I mean, if you could stat all the things that don't show up on the stat sheet that he does, I mean, you really can't calculate the impact that he has on our offense. I mean, he's a game changer.
Coach, everybody kind of figured what we would get from the attack line and the defenses on both sides. So the question was offensive midfield production. Brian Costabile was kind of locked off most of the game, but Matt Traynor really popped off for you guys. What'd you see from him today and kind of really all season?
Matt is a cool customer as a rookie, as a freshman, and very, very nothing rattles that guy. He's never too high, he's never too low, and got a short stick matchup a couple times and made him pay for it. And so it's like anything else. If Brian, doesn't get going offensively, Traynor does. If Traynor gets shut out a little bit, Brian steps up. So again, just a team effort, there in the midfield for sure.
Coach, the defense of Michael Sowers today, I don't think Michael touched the ball until almost the end of the first quarter. You had Gavin with him, but even, if a matchup changed, you were quick to even face guard him at times with, a shorty. Could you talk to kind of the plan to just deny Michael the ball altogether as a way to defend him?
Well, I think, they were kind of going to Kirst. And not that we got, necessarily shut off Sowers, and the other part, too, is they didn't have it a lot. We had it a lot more than they did in the first half, and that worked in our favor. So, but it was kind of the CJ show early, I thought, and he's incredible, and that's a great matchup. I mean, Michael Sowers is one of the best attackmen in the planet, but that's a great matchup for us with Gavin Adler. They match feet. He can run with him. We're doing a much better job defending the two-man game with Sowers and switching on those picks, but. Yeah, that was, Gavin, again, doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he kind of, erased 22, from the game today.
Coach, having met up with this team very recently in an offensive battle, the likes of which we've never seen, were there any sorts of takeaways from that matchup that you specifically wanted to apply going into this game?
Well, we had to play better defensively, in round 2 here than we did, 2 weeks ago. And we certainly did that. The 2-pointers kind of have hurt us that way. But at halftime, 3 weeks ago, it was 9-7. At halftime, 3 weeks later, it was 8-6. So we were, 2-goal up 2, and then 3 weeks ago, the game went crazy. And their goalie played very well, too, I thought. I think the defenses both played better on both sides of the ball this time around than they did, in the 20-19 shootout from a couple weeks ago. But, again, I thought, Trevor said it best at the beginning, and we talked about this pregame, our resiliency, no panic. You go 6-0 to 6-5, no panic. We've been there before. A couple things didn't go our way, no worry, we keep plugging along. And like I said, they never got the lead, so never tied it, actually. So.
Coach, just 2 shots for Connor today. Obviously 5 points. I think one went in, one hit the pipe. Do you want to see him take more shots? And Connor, can you just touch on just balancing that act of facilitating and scoring?
Well, again, I think for Shelly does a great job. He lets the game come to him. And he, again, we all see it. He can beat you off the dribble. He can beat you in the passing game. He's one of the most complete attackmen, I think, in the league. Jeff Teet's right there too. But that's just Shelly's game. He doesn't press it when it's there. He takes advantage of it. Doesn't turn it over. And it's never about Shelly. It's about the team, Teet, Xander, and all of that. So Connor had a quiet game. I think we could have done a better job, picking for him in the 2-man game. We didn't execute that well enough because Brower really wants to play his guy. And we had to try to get that switch and get that mismatch, and we just didn't do that enough for Shelly in this one. But all this guy cares about is the W.
Yeah, I think obviously that's kind of a hot topic is being more aggressive and taking more chances and taking more shots. But I truly believe with the offense we have, as Coach alluded to, when you have guys like Matt Traynor who are used to having a #1 pull on them in college and they're guarded by short sticks or Costabile, the same thing. And then, I get to play with the reigning MVP with Jeff Teet. So, today was definitely a little bit of a lazy, not my best performance, I don't think. But when you play with those guys, they make up for it. And, you want to let them have the ball as much as they can as well because, we have some of the best players on the planet right now.
Trevor, you've talked about, you've played this game for a long time. Has it sunk in not only that you guys have broken through and you're going to your first PLL championship game, but you're a New Jersey guy, and you get to play for your first PLL championship game right in your childhood backyard?
Yeah. No, the timing's impeccable. Timing's impeccable for sure. No, I think it's definitely set in, and I think that we got some more celebration to do, but at the same time we got one more. We got one more. We got to take care of business. So, but I'm excited. We're all excited for sure.
Coach, you mentioned emphasizing the defense. It looked like a lot of flexibility today regarding where you dispatched the poles. We saw Brett on the wings against Courier, and we saw Carpenter on the wings against Courier, Grace down low against McCardle, and so forth. Just how would you sort of describe the ability that each player has to be utilized in multiple positions and what it does for your team?
I think the big thing for us is the Makar-Grace situation, and Coach Sino does a great job with that. I mean, they're both very capable LSMs. They're both very capable close defensive guys. One's righty, one's lefty, one's 6'6", so there's a bunch of different skill sets that they, very different that they bring. And Sino just thought that having Grace in the close D to play McCardle, and you see that range, they're throwing those X passes, even though he didn't pick any off, he picked one off maybe, he widened out the McCardle at X, which made his catch and dodge much longer, where Grace could kind of move and play him a little bit. The average person doesn't see that, but that versatility for us all year to mix and match Makar and Grace has been a key to our defense, and they were both terrific today.
We'll go to Zoom, Dre.
Hey, Coach, this one's for you. Can you speak to how you as a coach felt seeing Kresge score his first goal today?
So I go up to Max Krefsky in practice yesterday, truth. And I said, you're going to score your first goal left-handed. True story. True story. And then I'm thinking to myself, if he's got a right-handed opportunity, he's going to go to his left. So we get to the end of practice. I said, Max, if you score right-handed, we'll be happy too. And true story. That was in practice. And, that was a huge goal in the third quarter. And Max caught it right-handed and low and away, and a huge goal for us. And, as a coach, this doesn't always happen. But, you need contributions from maybe guys that haven't done that, especially when you get to the end. And that particular play by Krefsky was huge for us. And the smile on his face and mine as we came to the sideline. And he says, Coach, you're good with it right-handed? Yeah, I'm good with it, Max.
Paul.
Coach, just have a question on Liam Entenmann today. Made a lot of diving stops to try and get the ball at the end on some runouts. He let up a couple 2-bombs, but then he had 6 saves to end the game and help kind of seal the deal for you guys. Can you speak on his resiliency and his competitiveness and drive to win?
Yeah, you're talking about Liam? Yeah. He's I don't know what you say. I mean, I've seen 42 years of doing this on the men's side. I'm not sure I've seen too many better than that guy. And to rise to the occasion, he was very disappointed with his play 3 weeks ago, in the 2019 game. Very, very disappointed. I think he was at 39%, which is un-Liam-like. And, obviously, I don't know if you heard, Liam took a coaching job, is now the goalie coach, assistant coach at Michigan. So he had to move to Ann Arbor. And a little sidebar, his girlfriend is the OC at Ohio State. So they have the Michigan, Ohio State thing going right now together. But that aside, so Liam had a busy week, and calling recruits and his full-time job. But got all that, put that aside, did his due diligence, did his chores to get ready. And I don't know what was the number percentage-wise for him today? 69. There you go. 69% in a semifinal game. There you go.
For all of you, Trevor touched on playing just outside his hometown, but also playing just outside your home state of New York. Can you guys just talk about what it'll mean to compete for a championship there, and your message to fans going into this one?
Well, there's a lot of blue shirts, out there in the crowd, which was great to see. We're close to, the city and Long Island also. That was awesome. And then obviously, playing in the final up in Harrison, New Jersey, and we're going to the banquets in New York. So getting closer to the home base.
Yeah, it's exciting. I remember, I think one of the first couple of years in the PLL, they had a game up there, and I just remember how cool the stadium looked on TV. So it's super exciting to get to go back there, and like you said, hopefully there'll be a bunch of blue shirts in the stadium.
We're going back home. Let's go. Pull up, everybody. New York Stampede. We'll see you there. See you there.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations. See you in New York.